You are. I can't stop.
Let's go. We're back at it again every single Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Me and my boy Alec Aponte talking about insurance, talking about sales, talking about how to make the most out of your career as a business owner, as a solo entrepreneur, or even an entrepreneur with a business, right? So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the growth pains as a business owner. What are some growth pains that you can expect being a business owner? Maybe you're in the insurance industry like we both are. Maybe you're in solar, maybe you're in real estate, whatever it might be. What are some growth pains that you can expect as a business owner? Obviously, the number one thing that a lot of people are going to talk about when it comes to growth pains, they're always going to say this. And I'm sure you already know what I'm going to say, Alec. People. No, I can't find good people. Man, I can't keep people. I can't get my people to train. I can't get my people to produce, right? It's always going to be geared towards people, right? But I think it all stems down to like, man, a lot of people, they say there's no good people out there. They say that their people don't train. They say that their people can't produce. So what's going to happen? And inevitably, that's what's actually going to come to reality, right? Because we're putting it out into the universe of like, hey, I can't find good people. My people won't train. My people won't produce. And that's ultimately what's going to happen, right? So obviously that's a growth pain that a lot of people run into. I'm sure you're running into it. I'm running into it. But there's solutions to finding good people. There's solutions to retaining the good people. There's solutions to developing them, aligning them to the culture and to the company that you're building. And there's solutions to transitioning them to maybe a higher up position in your company. There's solutions to transitioning them into a top producer within your company, right? There's three levels of employee engagement. There's the first level, which is employee alignment, getting them aligned to your company, to your business, to what you're growing, your culture. There's employee development, developing them, training them, making sure that they're all in on the training, really developing them as a salesperson. And then there's a third level of employee engagement, which is employee transitioning them to a higher up position, maybe an executive, maybe someone that's building a team, maybe just, a top, salesperson that's training other salespeople. They get maybe a W-2 salary position plus commission, whatever it might be. So it's like, man, like, people are not a problem. People are not an issue unless you make it a problem, unless you make it an issue. So that's the number one thing that always comes to my mind. And I'm sure all the viewers and the listeners can also agree is like, man, one of the biggest growth pains, right? I'm putting it in quotation mark, growth pains is going to be people.
Yeah, I mean, people listening probably heard, the quotes. Let's say some Jim Rohn this morning. But essentially, whatever you're looking for, you'll find, right? So he gives like a quote. He's like, a guy was traveling to another town. He stops on the way. He's headed to the town. He's like, hey, how are the people? How are the people in this town? Are they nice? Da 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 da. Are they good people? He's like, well, how are the people back at your old town? And he says, they were just terrible people. Didn't like them, whatever it was. And he says, oh, well, they'll be exactly the same. They'll be exactly the same when you come over here to this town. And that, that's kind of what you're saying. If you sit there and scream, there's no good people. I mean, it's like anything in life. Like everyone's greedy. Everyone's this, that. Like that's all you're gonna see in people. So you definitely have that lens, pull a different lens, different perspective. If you are gonna go into business for yourself, 100%.
Yep. What are some growth pains that you're seeing running your insurance brokerage, Paramount Insurance Brokerage?
Yeah, so a Paramount Insurance Brokers, it's definitely hard to keep people interested, focused on the vision, and producing. And that all goes in hand, because if you can't keep people happy, they're not going to produce. If you confuse people, they're not going to produce. If you don't give clear direction. So just really, really honestly, alignment and getting people truly bought in. I mean, like bought into the point where they'll they're just ready to go to war. They're just ready to just make it happen by any means, and they're just, one focus, one vision, one team.
Yep.
So, at Paramount, that's, the initial growing pains away from, man, there's a lot of admin work, whether it's, back end stuff like that. But man, the people, Ryan, yeah, it's definitely been, it's just been a big learning curve.
Yep. And that's where a true leader, a true executive, a true business owner really shines and really, gets to that point of creating a flourishing and a prospering business. And that's why a lot of people don't want to be business owners, right? That's why a lot of individuals, man, they maybe they got into, building a team, building an agency, building a group, building a business, a company, whatever you want to put it. They got into it. They started to bring people in. They're like, oh man, these people are going to be great, right? The enthusiasm is top notch at first. The tone level is top notch. You're like very enthused, very, very happy, very cheerful. They're like, oh, this is going to go great. I feel great. And then a couple months go by. People aren't producing. People aren't listening to the clear directions and orders that you put through as a executive, as a leader, as a business owner. People aren't producing revenue. And you're like, man, like, why am I even doing this? Then the tone just drops down. And then you lose path of the purpose and the intention of, hey, why did I actually become a business owner, right? So it's like, when it comes to people, like, you just have to understand that, as we all know, there's going to be people that are either going to continue to move their way up in your organization and in your business, or they're going to continue to move their way out of the business and out of the organization. And that's what employee transition is all about. It's either they're going up or they're going out. They're either going to continue to move up the ladder or they're going to continue to move down the ladder, right? And us as business owners, we need to recognize that sooner than later, right? Because if someone's on the verge of quitting, we all know, both you and I know, Alec, they're not quitting that day they think about it. They're waiting a month, 2 months. They're spreading negativity. They're spreading doubt. They're demotivating other individuals within the group. So being a business owner it's not easy, right? Yeah. But there is so much opportunity and so much, like, man, there's just so much reward with being it, but it takes a whole nother level. So really, as you said, multiplying on what you said, just, man, having people bought in at the highest degree, like, man, they're sticking their feet in. It's like quicksand. They're putting the stake in the ground. Like, I'm going to be at PIB for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm going to be with LC Financial Group for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm going to be with X, Y, and Z company for the next 5 to 10 years. Many people don't have that mentality, that viewpoint as an employee. The employee, they don't even care about the business's growth. Most average employees, they don't even care about if the business is growing, right? So it's like, man, finding the right people, it all obviously starts with the hiring process. And then it starts with, man, how do we set up a bigger picture for these people so they can see where they can actually go to within our organization, within our company? What can they develop into? Can they transition into, right? So really viewing that in a long scheme of things, of like really painting the picture for them. That's really helped me. But yeah, man, it's like, man, how do we get people so bought in that they're like, man, I don't even want to think about working anywhere else. I love the culture. I love the leaders. I love the people within the group. That's the biggest thing.
It's so something I say is, it's going to be challenging, and it's like all these people, especially two buddies, business plan. It sounds so great for a week, and then they got to start executing on things. Money becomes a thing, so it can become challenging. So as if you're becoming a business owner, you just got to make sure you're not going to last if you're not reinforcing why you did this. And I make it a thing to, like, never complain. Like, I signed up for this, and I'm going to be massively rewarded down the line. I'm just going to make it happen. And you just got to kind of make peace with the fact that it's going to take up a lot of your life. It just is. Like, Sunday, if I just wanted to hang out, like I intended, that was my goal. But as soon as I got in the office, it was this is that. On a Sunday, I couldn't leave. I left at like 10. And you know, it's not even, I'm not complaining, you know, I get to do that. And you just got to be like mentally prepared that we're going to have to do this work. And that's through the hardships of people leaving, people this, that, and you got to keep that forward movement despite that doubt. So just reinforcing. And then I think you can do a good job of initially keeping it simple. I was watching, you know, Andy Frisell, you may know who that is. Partnerships don't make as much sense when you guys you can want the same thing, but it's got to be strategic in the sense that you got to bring something completely different to the table. If you're, you know, so to say, like just like me, it doesn't work as well. Like this person needs to drive the boat and you want to drive the boat, it can become that thing. Whereas if you understand your role and you play a much different role and you get a bunch of people like that, that's how you like really form a team. And a lot of people don't form strategic partnerships. They're not truly strategic. So just reinforcing your why, knowing what you're signing up for, and then just really doing your due diligence on, you know, who you partner with and work with. I mean, you're going to spend more time with those people than at times, you know, your family, if you're really doing business. So you just got to be prepared for that.
Yep. Yeah.
And as long as the value of the goal like outweighs the work that, you know, you're putting in, then, you know, you're always gonna be down for it. You just gotta have that belief that it's gonna happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. The partnerships are huge. Who you're actually working with, who you're building with, who you're growing with, that's gonna make or break your business. Right? You sometimes get into a partnership or a business relationship that it's like you said, it's not very strategic. It's just like, oh yeah, let's work together. Sounds good. Sounds cool. And then like there's just a lot of clashing with it, right? It doesn't align too well as you thought it would, you know, and it's like it comes to a point where you need to partner with and grow relationships with individuals that are kind of, they have strengths that you don't have. Like they're filling in the weaknesses that you have, and you're filling in the weaknesses that they have. So that's where a really true business partnership and relationship comes in. Man, but dude, growth pains. I mean, we're talking about, you know, people, we're talking about business relationships, business partnerships. I mean, you can go even a deeper level of like having enough capital, right? Having enough capital to actually grow the business. Right, having enough revenue that's coming in, being profitable as a business owner, as the business, you know, leader, right? Actually having enough capital to actually like, hey, pour into my people, or maybe get an office here, or maybe do this, right? So actually having enough capital and being strategic with your money too, because being a business owner, like you get more money that's going to come in, you should be, than being a solopreneur, like an individual producer. So it's like, man, where do I allocate my money? What do I put my money towards? Like, as we were talking about earlier, it's just being a business owner just has so much of a higher level of responsibility than just personally producing yourself or being a self-producer, right? So when it comes to money, right, when you're a business owner, that's a big growth pain, because you can easily, you know, become insolvent with the money, and you might be making a lot of money, but the money is going out immediately, and then your profitability is like, you're not even profitable. So it's like, and then that brings a little bit of doubt into your mind, right? As we were talking about earlier, like you see all this money coming in, but the money's going out even quicker than it comes in. And you're like, shit, like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm not even profitable. I can barely even live.
Man, then it's part of the problem solving too. It's like, yeah, you know, put 20, 30 grand out, you know, he's just like, yeah, you just got to go back to the drawing board. Like that's another thing on top of the people. It's like, we got to figure out these margins here, what we're spending on marketing leads, where you're introducing leads into the topic. It definitely, like, that in and of itself is a whole nother thing you have to learn, the cost, the margins, and then where your money's going. Because if you're pouring money into different types of marketing, whether it's like social, SEO, the leads and all that, you just got to make sure your money's going in the right places while still allocating money to incentivize people that work with you, and, you know, reward people that are hitting targets and goals and producing within your your company. So that in and of itself is a major thing. And, you know, you got to be ready for that. You might even need to a degree, some kind of admin team, to a degree, because if you don't, it can easily engulf you, and you can make mistakes and not have any more money go solve them. So major
growth pains. I mean, getting employees, hiring the right employees, right? It's not even just the people, because you're growing like a sales team, but then you also, like you said, and that's why I thought about it, is just like admins, like actually getting, you know, employees that are hardworking employees that believe in the culture, they believe in the vision, they believe in the mission, where you're going, the core values, right? So actually getting the right employees that can actually help you expand, right? That's another growth pain. So it's like it all starts, you know, the funny thing is like you have a problem and then another problem arises, and then there's another problem, then there's another problem. It's just like continual adjustment and continual like changes that are happening. As being a business owner, as you know more than I do, there's always adjustments and changes that need to be made. Like there's never a time where adjustments are not being made or changes are not being made. There's always shifts in the market, right? Like maybe cost for leads might be going up, cost for transfers or inbounds, they might be going up. Then you got to shift like the commission structure for your people, right? There's always shifts that are being made. And you know, the last thing that you want to do as a business owner is be reactive with it. You want to be proactive, and you want to be set up to make sure that like any change that happens, like you're on top of it, and you're just going with it. Like a lot of business owners, there's changes in the market, there's changes with leads, you know, in the insurance industry for specific, there's changes with like third-party marketing organization rules, TPMO rules, and like shoot, like you gotta be able to continually adapt and change and just roll with it. Just roll with it. And don't get bogged down by these changes that you need to make, or the changes that are happening in the marketplace. Like it's a good thing. Like there's been so many changes this year alone, within the first month of this year, that I've been having here at LC Financial Group. And like at first I'm like, damn, like, oh my goodness, what's happening? But then I'm like, all right, the next in an hour or two, I'm like, oh wow, solution, right? So you got to stay solution orientated as a business owner, you know, because that's going to be one of the biggest pains as well. Like just like all the changes and everything that's continually evolving, you know, within the market, within your business, having the right systems in place, having the right policies in place, making sure that, you know, your people are actually being held accountable. I mean, man, the list goes on and on as far as pains as a business owner.
And you'd probably agree, you know, the big thing also is like after you have a decent month of production is like, how do you keep scaling that, keep to grow? Because that's another thing, is not only maintaining it, but, you know, continuing to grow the company simultaneously. Make sure get rid of the drops, make sure that there's that exponential growth. Is super key, you know, because like, you know, some people say you're either growing or you're going, and you know, you're doing the like if you have a business doing the same revenue every month and you're not trying to figure out solutions to increase the revenue, just creative ways to add to the top line, then you know, stuff starts happening, and then, you know, you might realize you needed an extra X amount of money, but you just failed to put those things in place, so you're increasing your revenue. Because a business that's not growing is, of course, a dying business, because the next business that is growing is gonna make you guys obsolete. So you just got to keep that in mind for sure.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, like you said multiple times, you already said it, like if you're not growing, you're dying. So, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, how do you keep things at an upward trajectory? How do you keep the stats going up? How do you make sure that your people are continually producing? Because, you know, we learned this in 10X Bootcamp. Like, one of the major reasons why businesses fail is because of employee disengagement. Your employees are disengaged. So how do you keep your employees engaged? How do you keep them excited? How do you keep them in the game? Even when they're winning, or most importantly, even when they're losing, how do you keep them in the game, right? So that's one of the most important things. And because, man, if things aren't going up, they're going down. Nothing is ever going to stay level for long periods of time. Nothing is ever going to stay level.
I was going to add to that. So no, and it's challenging. It's like, it's basically you know, as a business owner, you always know why, like what you want. But going back to your point, you're constantly figuring out the how, and the how changes constantly. So like that's the best way to put it. It's like just a never ending how. Because then like as soon as you fix something, there's like a new situation, whether it's geared to commissions or something. So then you're right back over there, and then that requires all your time. Then you fix that, and it's a constant thing. So you got to be ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got to stay solution oriented. It's positive, solution oriented. Understand that you're going to get all these jabs and these kicks, and you just got to keep bouncing right back up. Like just keep moving with it, keep growing, and understand that like you also got to understand as a business owner, like when there's changes in the marketplace and there's adjustments in the marketplace or in your business or in your industry, whatever it might be, there's going to be other business owners that aren't going to be able to adapt as quickly. They're not going to be able to change as quickly. And that gives you an opportunity to get ahead. That gives you an opportunity to really start to take more market share. Because, man, I see it with a lot of big organizations. These organizations, they get so big, maybe even eventually they sell, and then everything changes once they sell. Everything changes once they sell, or once they get big, they're like, oh, they become they build a bit of an ego, and they don't stay hungry for business. So as a business owner, when a big growth pain is staying hungry for the business, staying hungry for continually hiring, staying hungry for continually improving your systems, the way you operate, and continually improving the development of your organization and company, right? Because I mean, it's like the same thing with the business. Like nothing is ever going to stay the same. If your business is still the same, the systems, the processes, the policies, like the way you operate business, it's never going to stay the same. It's always going to be changing, like you just said, Alex. So it's like, how do you stay ahead of the curve, right? You've got to be just always on top of things. You can't, you said you're at the office till 10 p.m. on a Sunday. Like that's going to be required as a business owner, right? That's a pain right there. I mean, growth pain. It's like, man, like you got to spend more time at the office than you are doing with your family, or you're doing things that you actually want to do. Maybe it's golfing, maybe it's, shooting guns on the weekend, whatever it might be. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices that are going to be needed to be made. Yeah. And it's like, if you're like, the purpose of this show was really to make people aware of like, what are some growth pains that you can run into as a business owner. Maybe they're a business owner currently watching this and they already have a business. They're already hiring people. Maybe things are going well. Maybe things could go better. Great. You're learning the growth pains. Maybe you're an individual that wants to become a business owner. Maybe you've been on the verge of becoming a business owner, on the fences, and you just need a little bit more data of what you can run into, what you can expect. And man, I hope people are finding a lot of value out of this, because man, this is great stuff here.
Yeah, and it's always good to get advice from people who are currently doing it, and figuring it out as we go as well. So, I mean, yeah, any value we can provide, especially, I mean, across industries, but for me, especially other agencies within the insurance, Medicare space, because we definitely need some more solid shops with great people doing the right thing. It's definitely a shortage of that across any industry in the U.S., but especially in our industry for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt, bro.
Especially in our space. And then you got to hit the weights like Ryan Lodi. That guy's looking like an animal nowadays.
Yeah.
Is it the diet?
I don't even know, man. Dude, something's been going on. I think I've been doing legs lately. I've been doing legs 3 days a week. Yeah, it's really has been getting me looking solid. So
the legs, guys, hit the legs. Yeah, it actually does something like when you hit legs and stuff, it activates more like complete body. So that actually might be it. It might have something to do with it.
Yep. Man, I couldn't even. It's funny. I couldn't even squat like a month ago, and right now I'm squatting like 270 or something on the squat rack. Like,
No, it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's dropping bomb. That actually probably is it if you're squatting, because that's what changed, right?
Squatting, yep. Lunges, leg press. I put like 6 plates on that leg press.
Oh yeah,
hard on that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But
You'll have to slide down here sometime, brother, and we'll get those legs feeling like jello. You won't even be able to walk after a leg workout.
I'm prepped for it. I'll be ready.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I hope everyone does get a lot of value from these. So we'll keep them coming, throwing the topics together, and we'll just make it a community thing, man. We need great people, especially now, man. There's a lot going on, man. We need great business owners, great people, providing great opportunities.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll see everyone next Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Checking out. See you guys next week.
Yes.